Hey everyone, we're going to go through a full body strength training session today, front and back of the body, targeting all of the muscle groups. Great if you are away somewhere and you just want to kind of get it all in rather than separate out everything into body parts or anterior posterior work. So we'll get right into it. I have a light resistance band. I would use a one of the longer ones if I had one, but just using what I have, nice and light. You can use something, anything that stretches, maybe a pair of leggings, stretchy piece of clothing. And I have a few different sets of weights, which we'll get into. So we're going to do just a little bit of a warm-up round. Excuse me, we're going to start with our psoas marches. So waking the deep core. So our iliopsoas obviously is a hip flexion muscle, but it is a deep core muscle as well. So really thinking about hugging in and wrapping around. This is a great one for my pregnant, postpartum friends as well. We're not crunching into the core. So you can take your arms out nice and wide. If you have a long resistance band, you'll just kind of grip it and pull. Otherwise, you can just lengthen out whatever you have. And you just draw one knee into chest using the core as you press down into the other one, nice and strong. So pull and draw in. Pull and draw in. I want you to think about getting super, super tall. So rather than thinking about rounding forward, I want you to think about crown of the head's dragging up as that lifted knee is drawing up to meet it. And feel low belly lift in, almost lift that knee up a little bit higher. Belly should start to warm up. Start to feel the shoulders, the chest engage with this outwards pull of your band. Think squeeze the shoulder blades. Another 3, 2, and time. We're going to come into some cyclist squats today. So you can chock your heels up with anything. If you have knees that aren't super happy with really, really deep flexion, you can skip out the cyclist part of this squat and just do a normal squat. Otherwise, you can elevate your heels. It's going to target your quads a little bit more. We'll eventually add weight, but just body weight for our first round. Sinking down, squeezing the glutes, squeezing the thighs to get yourself back up to standing. Chest is nice and proud. Belly's on. We're squeezing at the bottom of the movement. Let's just go for another 3, 2, and 1. Grabbing your lighter weights if you have 2 or no weights here. Going for our dumbbell deadlift. So feet are hip distance apart. There's a softness to the knees. You're going to hinge. You're going to hinge back. Glutes are moving up and back towards the back of the room. Squeezing shoulder blades, belly in as you trail the front of the legs with your weights, and then squeeze your glutes at the bottom to get you back up to standing. I've been rushing around, so I'm already puffed. Really feel that length in the whole back line. Long, long, long in the glutes, hamstrings, squeeze to get to the top. 3. Drill down into the feet. 2. Last one. Hold it there. Again, you might have one of your lighter weights or no weight for this one, for our warm-up round. Going for our upright row, so a little bit more on the shoulders. I want you to hug the belly in. Think about lifting your dumbbell up to about chest height. Elbows can be a little bit higher. Lift. And again, I want us to think about that rib to hip connection. So we're not leaning back to facilitate this one. 3, 2, last one. We're going to come down for our chest press. So if you have the luxury of 2 different sets of weights, go lighter for this one. Elbows out nice and wide. Elbows can tap the ground. Long through the low spine, pressing up. Rib cage is pulling down again. Just go for another 3. Think about mind to muscle connection for this one. So squeezing your chest as you lift. I'm actually quite sore in my chest. I feel like sometimes it's nice to do, hold it there, nice to do exercises when you're sore because you really feel what's working and what's actually like super engaging. It can be nice to get that feedback sometimes because sometimes when you're not sore, you think you're engaging things or you think certain parts of the body are working, but any hoozle. Let's go. 3 rounds. We're going to come into 12 of our marches. So as you pull out, drag one knee in, back to center. Belly in, squeeze the shoulder blades. So we have 2 upper body, 2 lower body, and this kind of full body core deep engagement. 4 more. Holding it there. Now this session is absolutely fine for my pregnant postnatal friends. If you are past that period where you're laying on your back, just coming up onto a bolster, set yourself up, you can still work the chest, absolutely. So we're starting with those cyclist squats. I'm going to go my heavier weights now. I'm using what I have in the lovely studio that I'm filming in this morning. But if you have heavier or whatever, absolutely. You can just rack your dumbbells to your shoulders. If you have one or a kettlebell, you can have it in your goblet position. Let's go for 8. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the thighs at the bottom. Chest stays nice and proud. And really drill down into your heels. You can really use anything to chuck up your heels, a book. You can fold your mat up a few times. Last 2. And 1. Holding onto those weights if you can, if they're a little bit lighter as we transition into our deadlift. So feet hip distance, remember hips back, 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 back. Squeeze to rise. Try to drill down through the feet. Belly's in. Shoulder blades are hugging together. I heard someone say that they would cue this by saying, separate the part of the front of your body. I understand that they were trying to get someone to stop rounding, but our core should really be hugging in for our deadlifts, supporting that length you're creating in the low spine, that strength you're creating in the low spine. Last 2. Last 1. All right, working our upright rows here. You can go lighter weights, you can go one of those dumbbells, otherwise lifting up and lowering. Again, rib cage pulls in, core should be working. These weights are obviously more an upper body challenge for me rather than a lower body, but as I said, it's all I have. Especially when you're traveling or at home with whatever weights you have, you just use what you have, yeah? 3. 2. And time there. Take these out of the way. Coming down for our chest press. And that's our whole little full body series. Now, if you're going quite heavy for you, obviously you'll probably be working a little bit slower than me. We'll take breaks after this round and have a rest, but don't feel like you need to give up with me. I'm just using lighter weights than I probably usually would. 8 reps. So it's not like super fatiguing me right now, therefore I don't feel like I need to go super slowly. It's the beauty of online, just pause me. You can always just get the exercises and then not follow along with me if you like, but where's the fun in that? Last 2. Last 1. Okay. Making sure we have a little bit of rest here. So we're going to go for 3 rounds if you have the extra time and you're feeling stronger, or again, maybe you have slightly lighter weights and you want to challenge yourself that progressive overload by reps instead. Maybe you can even increase those reps to 12, 15 if you have quite lightweight, or just go another round after this. Otherwise, we will head into our second round. Grabbing your resistance band, whatever you're using. So we pull out as we draw in. Exhale. So it's power on the way up. Slow return. Also working that single leg movement, which is great for balance, control. Another great one for my recovering postpartum friends when the pelvic floor is ready for a challenge. Did 12 of these. Got 4 more. think about using your belly, not just your hips. I know they are very interconnected, but just think about that. Grabbing your little heel lift, whatever that may be. If they're on dumbbells, whoa, see, spoke too soon. Just be mindful, if they're round, that wouldn't be my first choice. The ones at home I have are the little square ones. So just be careful. Literally, nearly fell, proving my point. Belly in. Especially when this gets hard, think about your breath. Either exhale on effort or breath retention. If you're not sure how to retain breath, a big core, everything's locked on. Exhale at the top. Yeah? So when things get harder, we can start to practice breath retention. I mean, you can always practice it. You don't necessarily need to when things are lighter though. Feet under the hips, hip distance apart. Those deadlifts, glutes back, belly in. Drive to stand. Think about low back body being long. Hips moving back, crown of the head moving forward. 4. Last 3. I think I did an extra one there. Get those gains, that one extra rep. Okay. Coming into our upright row, belly's on. I feel like the downside to training with me is you have to hear me breathe the whole time. But if I move my microphone any further away, you won't be able to hear me. Last 3, 2, 1. Okay. Down on our backs for our chest press. It was that wide press, squeeze the chest. Same breath retention works for our upper body movements, obviously. So if you have a rack, obviously you're stopping at the top rather than having a little rest at the bottom. So you would hold the breath at the top. Last 2. And time. Hopefully we're feeling like we're getting a hang of the movements, feeling like we're feeling stable, strong, one more round. As I said, this is a great kind of full body if you don't have sort of a regular strength program or you're training strength less times a week, say 1 or even 2, full body is a great way to train because you're targeting those muscle groups more than once a week. So if you're training a little bit more, you can either break it down into, front body focus, back body focus, having a third day that kind of maybe targets everything, so you're getting that, hitting those muscle groups at least twice a week. And obviously once you start creeping that up, so more experienced, you might start to train more specific parts of the body and go heavier, blah, 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 blah. But we want to make sure if we are strength training, we want to be hitting those muscles more than once a week if we can, if we have the capacity to. It's how it helps us build a little bit more strength. But any strength training is better than no strength training, especially as we age, which we all are. All right, third round, those psoas marches. We pull. That wasn't very controlled. Slow return. Getting taller. Squeezing the shoulder blades, feeling the back body engage. Last 4. Okay, This is our last round. Whoop. Please don't fall over on your dumbbells. I prefer you used a book rather than round dumbbells. It's kind of treacherous. It's like an extra balance challenge over here. Now for those of us, like me, who have shocking ankle mobility, nothing I do fixes mine. These cyclist squats mean you get so much deeper while still being able to maintain better form in your chest, core, everything. Which means, if you're like me, you will feel these tomorrow because you might not usually get this deep. One more, I think. Yeah, so like front squats and stuff, I find really challenging with my ankle mobility. So even when I'm using a barbell and stuff, I'll just put something under my heels. It'll allow you to get that little bit deeper while maintaining the uprightness in the chest. Deadlifts, trail, 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 hips move back, 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 back. Squeeze. You do not want your weights coming away from the body in this movement. They're nice and close to you. Last 3, 2, and 1. Straight into upper row. Now if you have your heavy weights and you need to put them down, please do so. Pause me. But with lighter weights, I'm kind of trying to hold onto the dumbbells the whole time. Increases that challenge as we're not using super heavy weights over here today. 2 more. Belly in. Chest press last time. Of course, if you have super heavy weights or you don't have the capacity to choose if what you have at home is sort of just whatever it is. If you can't get 8 reps out, go for 7, go for 6, whatever you can manage with those weights. You want to be feeling challenged. But if 8's just not attainable for whatever weight you have, obviously make it work for you. Last one, and hold it there. All right, we're all done for our little, I reckon that was about 20 minutes. I'm shocking at guessing though. I was like, that's 10 minutes, and it was 18. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I hope the platform or the online studio is making it a little bit easier for you to get some strength training in, get some mobility in, get some stability, core in with the Pilates. I really hope you're enjoying, and please let me know if there's something you want. I film every week, so it's not like I film a huge block. If you want to see something next week, the week after, I have the capacity to do that. So let me know, send me an email, send me a DM on the gram, and I'll get it done. Thanks so much. Bye.